Good evening, good evening, good evening. I hope you are well and you can hear me. Apologies, we had some technical glitches. And let me turn my phone on silent before we start. Hopefully you can all see me, hear me. Please let me know in the chat if you can see and hear me. It would just really help me kind of know that you're all here and alive. We're going to do a really short session tonight. So really short session, just some fundamentals about understanding your purpose as a business and what you're trying to achieve. So do let me know if you're here. If you're not here, this will be even shorter because I'll be all by myself. But tonight, I want to share a little bit about purpose and why purpose fits into your business and how you define the purpose of your business. Because without this, you have no guiding light of what you should and shouldn't be doing. But you also don't have that reason to get out of bed in a morning and fight on when it's difficult, when you have the downs. It's easy to get out of bed in the morning and spring up to action when you have good times. But how do you do that when you have bad times? And that's where you really have to know why you're doing this in the first place. Why are you fighting on through the challenges and the frustrations? And I just wanted to share a little story to help you understand the power of purpose and the power of building something people can believe in, get behind. And it's more than just about making money. It's actually about making a difference in some way, and that people feel that their exchange of their time for their labor and your time, stress and agony and frustration is all worth it. Because without that, running a business is not necessarily the easiest way to earn money. So if you're here and you're watching, great. Please let me know where you're from in the chat, because that would be awesome. But really, the key thing I want to share with you tonight is an experience I had really when we were bringing Maverrik into being as what you can see and experience today. And by no means are we perfect. We make some mistakes like anybody else, but I want to share with you. Hi, H. Williams. Hi, Pokijanju. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name, but welcome, Chicky Mombos. Welcome. Sorry if it's taking you a little bit to find the link. So just to kind of recap, the purpose around your business has to be compelling, because people will buy into you by what you're trying to achieve, what the reason and what the motivations are. And we're good readers of each other, and we can see the people who are just motivated by money and the people who are motivated because they really want to make a difference. They really want to do a good job. They really want to help people along the way. And that's really the first thing. It's have you got a good idea, and are you passionate about it, that you want to make a difference for people? Now, businesses aren't charities, but actually we do all have a cause, don't we? We've been frustrated or challenged or annoyed or wanted to see something. Hi, Richard. We've wanted to see a difference made. And this message of the purpose in your business will help people come and work with you. It'll help people engage with you. It'll help people see the values behind your business. It'll help people see that you're a genuine person, that you really want to make a difference. So your purpose as a business really comes from the vision from the founders or the owner of the business. It comes from you really communicating what the difference is that you want to make. So our vision as a business, our purpose as a business, is to help 1 million businesses grow their revenue, increase their margin and their profit. And that's our key. Hi, Dimitri. That's our key motivation. Because we believe that if we help businesses grow their revenue, increase their margin and make more profit, two things will happen. The first thing is that business will thrive. That business will thrive, which means it will employ more people and look after and provide for more people. So small businesses and businesses are critical to the success of an economy. So we really believe that our purpose is to help 1 million businesses grow revenue, increase margin and their profit, so that they can contribute to a wider society. Now, I'm going to show you an example of why this purpose matters. And I'm going to be totally honest with you about this story because it will help you, and we'll have a bit of Q&A and share a bit. But really, I want you to get the fact of what is your purpose as a business, because it will really help you catch fire and get momentum behind what you're trying to do and really bring focus to what you should and shouldn't be doing, because we're presented with opportunities every day and we can go this way and we can go that way, but your purpose can really help you eliminate the things you should and shouldn't be doing. So when Maverrik was in its early stages, when Maverrik actually was spelt the English way, Maverrik, M-A-V-E-R-I-C-K, when it was spelt that way, I want to share a story. We'd just gone through a very difficult time in terms of reorganizing the business. Business partner was leaving, lots of unsettling and difficult times, and quite agonizing times. And I laid out the vision of what I wanted to achieve for Maverrik and what I wanted to do. Now, our team, amazing people, they'll go to war with you. They'll fight. They've got your back. They'll be there. But that came from them seeing the genuineness of my purpose and what I want to achieve with this business. They bought in that they could make a difference. They bought in that they could be part of something that made a difference. And actually what happens, and I'm not really kind of encouraging you to do this in that way, but when we were going through that transitionary phase from going from where we were, Maverrik spelt the old way, to Maverrik spelt the new way, it was a very financially difficult time. And it was brutal, in fact. And there was questions about whether we could actually get through it or whether it would just kill us. And the whole team believed in what we were trying to achieve, believed in it as much as they were prepared to go and take that risk with me. They knew it was a risk, and I sat down and told them that this was a very difficult and precarious situation to get to where we wanted to be, and they all locked themselves in and said, we're going to do this. And this is just one example I've experienced of where, when you have a very clear purpose as a business, when the people that you're involved with, the people, your team, and the people who are helping you feel like they can be a part of it, it really does make the difference. If you treat everybody as in that kind of employer-employee, you will get their work. You will get their work. But if you want them to really be invested and really go the extra mile, you have to let them see the purpose and how they fit into the purpose. So that's how purpose can work internally within a business. But how does it work externally? So when a business has a very clear purpose, when it lays out exactly why it exists, yeah, and that can be quite very broad. It could be because you want to help people save time and money through technology, yeah, or it could be something that, we want to make the best widgets we can for the aviation sector. We want to make the best widgets in the aviation sector. When you follow that and you actually achieve your purpose, if you've set your business up right, the money follows the purpose. So we want to help 1 million businesses grow their revenue, increase their margin and their profit. If we can do that, our customers want to pay us, our customers can afford to pay us, our customers, people want to work with us because we're getting that result. If you make the best widgets in the world for the aviation sector will want to do business with you. So the purpose of what you do is so critical to help you define yourself. And really, a few weeks ago, we were talking about the USP, and that's like the map of where you sit against the competitors. This purpose is massive in defining you and separating you from everybody else. It sets a standard of what you will and won't do. And it sets a bigger than just us principle within your business. So people can see you're actually striving for something that matters. You're actually striving for something that you want to be the best at something. And that's really the power of purpose in your business. It's the power of... so let me give you another example. Every Friday, we as a team stop and focus in. And it's very hard to build this discipline, and we struggle with those and go, how can we help them get more success from working with us in the next week? And we do that client by client every Friday so that we can look at what's happened this week. Have we moved them any further forward? If we haven't, what are we going to do about it? And if we have, how can we increase that? And that's something we do because we want people to grow 1 million businesses. They'll increase their revenue, increase their margin, or grow their revenue, increase their margin, and their profit. So we have to think and function and push everything that we do towards that aim. Now, it isn't easy, and sometimes we miss the mark, and that's where we have to learn and grow up and be mature and put it right. But that purpose of helping people achieve that really does make a huge, huge difference. So one of the things I wanted to say tonight, and we can keep it very short and sweet unless you've got questions about any of our sessions, we are running the social selling free training again next week, so please do come back for that. It's slightly later next week because we've had a few glitches with the setup of the system towards the end of the day, so we just need to buy ourselves half an hour to test some stuff. And all being well, on I think the 9th of September, we're actually trial running our new tech, so you'll see all nice new stuff, so it'll hopefully be a bit more engaging and interactive presentation. But I want you to write down and make a list of what's the driving momentum that behind your business. What's the thing you really want to achieve with your business for your customers? What's the thing that made you start the business? And really kind of etch it on the wall. Etch it on the wall, etch it on the notepad, because that's the thing. The purpose statement is the thing that if you just pursue that, everything else will fall into line. Now, it won't perfectly. You'll have to scale it up, but you will have to bring it all into line. And that purpose statement will get you there. When we talk about the numbers and the finance stuff, and maybe I'll share something like this with you because it will really help you. If you go, people are asking about the social selling training for next week. If you go to our Eventbrite, Google Maverrik Eventbrite, and you will see a Master of Social Selling is on next Tuesday evening, and you can book in. And please, would you go share that on social media, invite some of your friends to it? It'd be great to have a big crowd for that event. I think we got about 70 or so people booked in. This is quite a quiet session tonight. But maybe I'll share in the numbers time. We'll do a numbers session at some point. And I talk about the number that makes everything work. So somewhere in everything that you're doing, there's one metric that if you focus on that one metric, everything else falls into line. So there's one metric in your business that will help everything else work, and it's usually a revenue metric. And if you can find that, it somehow connects to revenue. If we can do this number, then everything else follows. So let me give you an example. And we used this example about 8 years ago when we were doing a major campaign for a client for an event. And it was eyeballs. How many eyeballs need to know about us to make all of the rest of the numbers work, to get the inquiries, to get all of that? And we worked out at the time, it was something like 2 million people for this major project. We needed to know 2 million people to know who we were. Hi, Mrs. J. So it's 2 million people. That 2 million people triggered everything else. So the purpose is a little bit like that. Think about if you pursue that purpose as a business and define that purpose, will everything else fall into line? Will everything else line up and work out? And most of the time, yes, there's logistics and all that kind of stuff, but most of the time it lines up. So without a purpose, you're just trying to make money. And that's a terrible thing to run a business just to do. A business is an exchange of value. And That's great when you make money and you make profit, but it has to be for a purpose. You don't have to be a charity, but if you're not doing it for a purpose other than wealth, it will become very boring. And ultimately, on that kind of hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you'll never really feel as a business owner that you've reached the potential, because you'll not reach your self-actualization goals of being able to make a difference. And your business is your opportunity to make a difference. So it's important you define that purpose really early on, so that you can use it as a guiding light to know which way to go, which ways not to go, which things you should do and which things you shouldn't do. And one of the things we were talking about earlier is some of our programs. It's relatively easy to go online and put advertising behind some of our programs and get a ton more sales than we do. I mean, we do well as a business. We got 25 or so employees here now, all working full time, helping customers and all that kind of stuff. But it would be relatively easy for us to 10 times that. The problem being is, though, we would fall into a slippery slope where some people would come on our programs, one, who couldn't afford it, so they'd be going into debt, which is ethically wrong for a business to help people go into debt to get on a course, I think, or training program. And the other thing is that some of those people wouldn't be able to take it seriously or wouldn't be able to devote the time to it. And so you end up with more dissatisfied customers, unhappy people who feel like they've paid for something that hasn't worked for them. So these are some of the dangers of just pursuing money. And you see it across the internet on YouTube. No doubt you've watched some of our videos and there'll be ads floating around them from people selling courses where you can make 6 figures in 6 days. And their businesses, I'm not all of them, I can't make a judgment about all of them, but generally speaking, they're businesses without a purpose other than to make money. They're not really committed to making a difference for the people, because that's where you quality control and focus in on how can we make everything that we're doing more successful. So I'm going to ask Vasco to come and share a little bit about purpose. He's worked with some major organizations in Southern Europe, some large corporates, including one that makes fizzy drinks, which I won't share with you now. But Vasco, and if you want to put some questions about anything generally tonight, because we're on a very low-key session, if you want to ask any questions about anything to do with any of the session we've done, please put them in the comments and we'll happily answer your questions. But I'm now going to let Vasco chat for a little minute. And that's not COVID, by the way, his cough.
How's it, Dimitri? So that you're here tonight, and many more. I know, and welcome, guys. It's interesting to sit here and hear Dean talk about the experience we had in Maverrik, and how everyone got behind an idea and fought for the idea. Interesting enough, I had a chat with all the guys a few months ago about this, and no one thought about salaries, turnover. No, everyone was behind a project, behind an idea to get it, over the line. And understanding the purpose was the main key to this. Dean told us what he wanted to do, told us where he wanted to reach. And the team came behind him and said, we are going to get you there. So there were tremendous hurdles for us to get there, tremendous problems for us to get there, but we did. And I'm sure that most of you are here tonight because you are going through some sort of pain due to the pandemic, to the time of the year that we are in, to looking at your business and saying, where can I go? And sometimes it's the idea or the purpose that you've got is not the real purpose. And what you should do is try and analyze with your team what is the real purpose of your company and understand what that is, and together go forward with it. Do a plan, discuss it, and try it. And, one of the big problems that entrepreneurs have sometimes, and this morning, in fact, I was talking to one just about this, is how scared they are to make the move, to take the step forward. And also interesting that Dean talked about one of the programs we're going to have, and he's standing over there smiling at me about that, because it's all going to be, this program, about helping you look for the right purpose, see how you're going to do it, and move forward. And all we need in life most of the time is a little push. Mm-hmm. It's a little push. It's someone that sort of opens the light and tells us, there it is. That is the purpose of what we need to do. And, guys, if you got your team behind you, you are there. Remember that saying that you don't need the right people with you. You need the people that share your dream. And that's what you should have next to you to help you move forward.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I think is important, somebody's just asked here, they're a student and wants to start a bit. What's the kind of business is better for me? That's something you have to find out. That's something you have to discover. I mean, you can go, Google it, what's the best types of businesses, but you've really got to play to two things. What are you passionate about? What do you really think the way I like to think about it is, what is it, something you could do, and if you had to do it for free, you'd love doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you get an enjoyment or a sense of pleasure and reward from just seeing it happen for people. Yeah. So that's the first thing, because for any business, I had this saying that I put up on social media, and I said, you have to roll a rock up a hill. Yeah. So stop complaining about pushing the rock and just push it up the hill. But if you pick the wrong rock, you won't want to push it up the hill. You won't have the determination to push it to the top. And, as you're thinking about starting that business, you're going to have that difficulty, that struggle, and that kind of ongoing challenge to get it up to the top of the hill. And we had this. Yeah.
And also the thing is, when you sort of getting you to grips with your company, is that all of a sudden you find that you're deep down into running the day-to-day, worrying about who to pay, when to pay, is this coming, how I'm going to do salaries this month. You're so worried with the day-to-day, you've got no time to think how I'm going to grow my business. And this is where another key word comes in, which is called, and all the entrepreneurs hate this word, and I'm sure that you're all standing there, when I say
I don't know what you're going to say now.
It's called delegation.
Oh.
Delegation. Learn how to delegate. The problem with all entrepreneurs is that we believe only us can do it. The only ones who do it better. But while you're busy with the day-to-day, you're not busy with what's really your purpose, which is to grow the business and move it forward. So if you've got the right team around you, you can delegate some of the tasks so that you can concentrate on what your business needs to move forward.
So in our business, I have a remit. 3 or 4 years ago, you'd look at me and go, how does Dean leave alone so much stuff? But I've learned that I can be the bottleneck. If I want to pursue a purpose, I have to empower other people to play their part in that purpose. And instead of seeing people or salaries as a cost, we see it as part of the aim and the
growth investment.
And the growth, that every person is an investment. And if we can get them to understand our purpose and what we're achieving and what their role in that is, they will do more. They will be more motivated. They'll be more engaged. They'll be more passionate about it. They'll fight for the business. Even though it's not theirs, they're just an employee. They feel ownership over it, so they will fight for it. So coming to finding your purpose in your business, it's very easy, particularly after what we've been through and what we're going through with, the whole virus thing. And the reason I'm not saying the word is because YouTube, I got told off apparently because we said that word about 19. But we're not allowed to say it on a video, otherwise it can get deranked, apparently. So that thing that's going on right now globally. It's easy to follow the money or chase the money. It's a terrible business idea. It's an absolute terrible business idea to just chase the money. What you should do is establish some purposes and fight for it, and really establish yourself. If you want to show people that there's a better way of doing X, Y, or Z, make that your purpose. And people will rally around you, and people who believe in that will come around you. But you have to have a cause. If you look at you look at Elon Musk, for an example, I think Elon Musk is probably going to go down in the history books as one of the most empowering, insightful business people that we've had in probably a generation, because he's done things despite the industry, experts, analysts, and everybody saying contrary.
It wasn't feasible.
Yeah.
And now he's got the most valuable car company in the world.
And think about that. He makes less cars than Ford or General Motors, yet has a more valuable business. Yet, when he started out, he saw something and believed in something that everybody else thought was madness and would never work, and he could never make it profitable, and he could never get the price point to where it's at. And now it's there, and Tesla is a thing. But not only that, if you look at SpaceX, he's done exactly the same thing. He's made space flights more affordable. What's the other one? Reusable rockets. And it's all from following a purpose and then going, how do we get there? How do we achieve this? So he wants, Elon Musk's major principle is what? Populate Mars.
Yeah.
And then if you look at that, if you look at him, his vision, he wants to go to Mars and populate Mars and take the humans to the stars. Why did he get involved in a car company?
I'll be honest, I don't know.
How's he going to power it?
Oh, yeah?
How's he going to power whatever's on the Mars? Well, sunlight, batteries, electric batteries.
So it all came from batteries?
Yeah, batteries. How did the rockets come apart? Did he build the rocket? That, again, was him looking at how can we do it, what's the first principles in it, pulled it apart, and now builds rockets cheaper than the experts, NASA. In fact, NASA gave him a contract to get their astronauts to space. He followed a purpose and found, how am I going to get there? That's what we need to achieve. Somebody asked, personal branding really help a business? Absolutely it does. If you position yourself as... yes, Charlie's right. Tesla is really an electrical energy company, which actually, if you look at who Tesla was, Nikolai Tesla, one of the things that he pioneered, if you watch the old PlayStation games, the Command and Conquer, you could get Tesla coils. Now, Tesla actually looked at how could we extract energy from the air. And that was one of his major experiments of how can you collect energy, electricity from the air. And Elon Musk has kind of adapted that principle in some way to go, actually, we can, he's got the solar plants as well. So he's got the solar business, the battery business, and the rocket business.
He's got the world's biggest battery factory.
Yeah, the world's biggest battery factory that was impossible. But personal branding does make a difference. And when we think about personal branding, a lot of people think about the cheesy pictures and the teeth with shining and everything. That's not what personal branding is. Personal branding is about establishing yourself, what you stand for, what you believe in, how you do business, the style that you do it, and really saying, this is who I am. And this comes back to the personal branding issue, and the business growth issue comes back to you as a business do not need everybody to know you, love you, and think you're amazing. You just need a core group of people. Coming back to that book, Nicholas Lovell, The Curve, you need your fans. You need to build your fans. People who can engage with you and say, I love what they're doing. I feel what they're trying to do, and I see that they're genuine in trying to do it. And that comes down to how you build fans. Personal branding, setting your stall out. This is what we're about. This is what we can do. This is it. If people want to do business with it because of that, fantastic. But you're not going to chase down and adapt and morph to every different person. You're going to say, this is our stall. This is who we are. This is the way we do it. If you want it, come get it and come be part of what we're doing. But what you're not doing is adapting and pivoting and twisting and turning to any which way you can make money, because that's not a way to build a sustainable business. You go, this is what we're about, Apple, this is what we're about. If you love us, buy us. Now, I don't like Apple personally, although I signed up to Apple TV just because Greyhound was a really good film. But you need to build your purpose, because that is the guiding light that will get you there. It's the thing you can build your personal brand on. You can set your stall on top of it and really have something substantive below you, some foundations below you to go, this is the reason why I'm doing it.
And it's interesting talking about personal brand, because there's a thing about personal brand, but there's also the brand itself. When you see Steve Jobs, you see Apple. And when you see Apple, you still today see Steve Jobs. And same as Elon Musk, you see Tesla, you remember his name. You see Elon Musk, you know straight away, and you think of Tesla. So they become synonymous of each other. And this is what makes brands great. And, you're not looking for yourself to be an idol. You should, think of yourself as a leader. And this is why I come back again to the other part, which is have a great team around you. Surround yourself with people that share your dream, people that want to move forward, so that you don't have to worry about someone's going to steal the idea from you, or this is going to happen, or are you going to run the day to day. You've got a team for that. You can focus on growing your brand. And this is a day in, day out thing. And you want the members of your staff to come into the office like ours do and enjoy being here. And this is why we also give them the conditions that they have in the company. And we work as a family, and all towards one purpose. And the purpose is having you all that are here today, and I see quite a few over there, here tonight, watching us, listening to us, listening to the message we've got. And we are here to help you. And we want you to be part of that 1 million.
So, any questions for us tonight?
I'm sure there are many. Come on, Dimitri. Oh, yeah, it is. Raju.
So, how do you find your team? So,
good question.
You may disagree with me, but this is the way I look for it. So, I'm looking for somebody, and we've just hired some people. So Srikanth, okay. We've just hired some people here, and I look for things very, very different. So we have some of our team who are looking at like capability, and what I'm looking for is the person's almost heart.
It's how do they fit into the team?
How do they become part of the team? Do they get what we're trying to build? Do they get what we're trying to achieve? So I'm looking for people who align with what we're trying to achieve, and who feel like they can be part of our home. And I really think that our place is a home. That's what I think really does make a difference. So I'm looking for people who are the people who can be part of our home, like people you'd invite into your home, whereas some members of the team are just double checking that those people have something to contribute, and we're not just hiring people who can't add value to the business at the same time. So Richard's just asked about, is there a framework to use to develop a strong purpose? So Richard, effectively what we do, or what I did, was I looked at what I want to, because my Maverrik is so much intertwined with me, because it was started with, in the sense of, I've worked with the big organisations, the multi-million-pound organisations, and I still do. But what I really thrive from or really enjoy is watching people get a simplicity to be able to take action. Business is so confusing. I love giving people a straight path to get to a result or helping them discover it. So that for me was a key element of it. And there's so many people stuck trying to grow their business, not knowing what to do, being confused by all the different secret hacks and all this kind of stuff, that I thought that's what we will do. We will help people get clarity, and that clarity will help them grow their revenue, increase their margin and their profit. And that's been it. So that's quite broad in some senses, because we can do that in lots of different ways, from live events to digital products to webinars to anything like that, books. That's something we can do. TV shows, even podcasts, we could do all of that. So that really, for me, was a total principle, and I just mapped those out.
And Charlie's got a very interesting question, which is, could you speak on the importance of developing systems and processes? And you know what? That is something that we've been talking in our company for quite a while now, because as you grow, you've got nothing of that.
Yeah. So there's two things on this, Charlie, about systems and processes. If you're starting out, i.e. you're doing under $200,000 a year, you can operate the business without procedures and systems because it's just you and maybe a small team. Or if it's just you, you can do that because you have a habit, which is actually your systems and processes. But as you scale or as you grow, you have to have an ability to repeat and replicate that success. And that's where systems and processes really, really matter. I'm not actually responsible for our systems and processes, because if I were, they wouldn't happen. We actually have people in our team whose job is to just organize and make things straight and tidy and repeatable. But what you don't want to do is two things. So I see this a lot in startups. They're planning to the nth degree, and literally their plan is so watertight, you'd think it could sail on water. But it's never been tested. It's never been stretched in the reality. So you have some people who build so many detailed plans and so many ingenious plans that when they go to set sail with them, they crumble and fall apart. So I'm the kind of person, and we have this saying in our business, we build the plane whilst we're flying it. But I take the plane and jump off the cliff with the plane and build it whilst flying it. Meanwhile, there are people behind me going, oh, so that's what we did there. That's what we did there. This is how the plane is to be built. And away we go. So you do need systems and processes, but in the early days, you just need to try a few things. You need to experiment a little bit. You need to see how these plans and systems work in reality, rather than having them have a guide of a plan or a system and a process, but then perfect it and tweak it as you go.
And then you end up being buried in bureaucracy. Dimitri, we went out of our element in the events industry. We know that, Dimitri. It's been dead for 5 months. We just started doing live stream events. It doesn't have the same feel, though.
Dimitri, we did in the UK, US, and Europe. We did something like 60 events a year, in-person events in a year. And in March, we cut them all, absolutely cut them all. And actually what we did, really strangely, is we said, we're going to run online programs where people can work with me on rolling sessions. So we're running Social Selling Accelerator at the moment, which is a program. If you go to our website, you can have a look at that. And we just decided to pivot to, let's just give value. Let's just give value. If we can't do events, let's just give value. Now, I appreciate not everybody will be able to do that, but that's what we did. We came on and we said, we'll live every week. We'll give value away. Tell people about what our programs are, the kind of paid services that we do. and people will come to us from that. People who are stuck and need to make grow revenue, pivot, whatever it is, they'll come and find us. And what we found was, being straight, we dropped off a cliff revenue in April.
Yeah.
May, it bounced back a little bit. June, it bounced back a bit. July, it was back. And August was record month.
Yeah.
Now, that takes thought process. And if you've not seen some of our other sessions, we've got other sessions which are on the channel. So have a look here through the history here about if you understand your USP, so your unique selling proposition, or what we've renamed our compelling selling proposition. And then you build out that, really develop that, and then implement social selling, even just you on your own, Dimitri. If you just do that, you will turn that tide in a few months.
Also, everyone is looking for specialists that know how to deal with events in the situation that we are now.
Yeah, we work. We've been helping another person who runs events and organises events, and they've just joined our social selling accelerator because they've seen not only what we've done. Because I think if I'm telling people to pivot and telling people to find their purpose, and if Kurt from our office is watching here, he'll tell you we never sell something we haven't done. We never promote something or teach something we can't implement ourselves or we haven't done for ourselves. So we're constantly trying things to know what to do and how to do it. So we were 50%, no, 60% of our revenue, 60%, maybe more, was from live in-person events. And we did a session at the beginning of lockdown saying, this is how you think about how to pivot, map out all of the different areas. And that's what we did. We focused in, and we're literally coming out the other side with a bigger team than when we went in.
We've grown.
To 7 people have joined our team during lockdown, because we've really focused in on knowing what we're trying to do, knowing what we're trying to achieve, and pushing everything behind that.
And there's an interesting thing about Dimitri, which is, have you thought how many of your clients are looking for a new revenue stream? And you can help them. Because instead of doing all the live events, why don't you help them set up webinars? Because they need a new revenue. They can't go out to trade fairs. They can't go out to events. They need something else. And that could be a new line of support of you helping them getting that. And by the way, if you need help on doing that, we can do it.
Yeah.
Just going back to Charlie about systems and processes, when this problem started, we had everything set. If this happened, what needed to be done. And Dean over here made the decision of us all going home at 9:30 in the morning. So the whole team in the office got their laptops, got their desktop computers, went home. At 11 o'clock of the same day, we were having our first meeting, team chat online. And everything worked from home from there on. And why? Because we had processes set up if this had happened.
Without sounding woolly, but I'm going to sound woolly, most of the answers to your challenges as a business during COVID are actually, you already have them. You already have them. You just have to take the time. And a lot of the time, I don't know whether that's the person we know.
Yeah, it's Boo.
Boo. Boo and I we were chatting this afternoon, this morning.
Yeah, this morning.
Boo. And one of the things we were talking about is actually most of the answers that you are looking for in your business, you already know them, but the pieces of the jigsaw are just jumbled up. And a lot of my time consulting with businesses is not really teaching them anything new. Yes, I can teach them things that they don't know about LinkedIn and social selling, but the most of the stuff is actually just ordering the pieces It's just putting the pieces together so that you can have a clear path. Somebody said, actually, information becomes valuable when it's put into a system or it's organized.
Yeah.
Information becomes valuable when it's organized into a system. And that's really the fundamentals of anything. You know what to do. And if you spend the time, just a little bit of time going, okay, who is my market? What are my skill set? What are their challenges and their frustrations and their problems right now? And how can I solve them? And if you can start to map those up, you come up with the answer. You come up with the answer really, really quickly.
And at the moment, it's even easier because what is the pain point of your client? And that pain point is so common now that it helps you find the solution.
So, you've got the answer. I'd love you to come on our social selling program. We've got a track record of helping people get results. But actually, if you just spend the time thinking and really dig deep into what is it you want to do with your life, with your business, what do you enjoy doing in your life, in your business, what would you do if you could do it for free? Think about all of those things, and then you start to put the picture together. The last thing you want is to spend if you're going to start business, the last thing you want to do is spend the next 10 years doing something that you actually turns out you'll hate. And sometimes that's what we do. We actually take a decision to do something for the money, and then 3-4 months in, we go, I absolutely hate this. I wish I'd never done it. And that's just not digging into what you really find that you can make a difference with. And that is the purpose. Once you find that, it's then about how do I commercialize what I'm passionate and devoted to doing. What could I do all day, all night, and go without sleep for, and I'd love to do, and then line that up with a commercial objective. And it sounds hard, but it's actually straightforward. It's really, really, really straightforward.
And guys, I think most of us were having a trajectory in our businesses. It was going well, slowly, but everything was stable. All of a sudden, all of us are having to rethink where to go from now, what to do now, what is the real purpose of my business, how can I make it grow? And, all of this is, in a way, positive because probably it will take you to the place where you should have been before.
And one thing that is really important is to just remember life goes round in circles. Yes, Srikanth, I will accept you on LinkedIn. There's no problem there. I'll add you. One thing to remember, whilst this COVID thing may be a surprise, the world seems to go round in circles. Yeah, we tend to repeat things and we have cycles. So every 10 to 12 years, we have something like this. Yeah, 10 to 12 years ago, 2008, we had the financial crisis. Never seen anything like this before. Massive financial impact, chaos, financial ruin, the works. But then we saw the recovery. Things started to recover. We started to do a bit better, a bit better, a bit better. But we forget that these things come round again. Always different, always, nobody saw a virus coming. But generally speaking, every 10 to 12 years, there will be something like this, a cataclysmic event of some kind on the economy. A recession of some kind, something happens. Don't go out of this going, oh, we got through it, it's all going to be okay, because in a few years' time, you'll have something again. And what's been interesting to me is to watch what we thought were these big, strong companies brought to their knees by a virus or said that.
Second time.
YouTube. And the people who've done well are the ones who've had the rainy day fund. And sometimes in life, particularly, Dimitri's on it. Sometimes in life, we can convince ourselves that everything's going to keep going the way it's going and not have a plan of what happens if. Now, there's a danger that you don't take risks at all because you're worried about what happens if, but you can go the opposite way and take so many risks that you can get caught out. And some of these companies with really high debt levels, we haven't seen it yet, but some of these companies with really high debt levels that for many years were boasting about how successful they were, suddenly find themselves, partially because of the change to online and digital, but that's now accelerated, they're finding themselves that their business model does not work.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that.
Charlie says it's great there. Think about all the ways you could put yourself out of business.
Yep. But the interesting thing how the world has changed. A number of years ago, a great job that at the future was working in a bank or an insurance company. And now it's being a delivery driver.
Yeah.
That's the job with the future, is being a delivery driver. It's working in a supermarket, putting things on shelves.
Yeah.
No one fire those people. In fact, they're looking for more.
Yeah.
And 10 years ago, you know, it was completely the opposite.
So that thing will create business opportunities. It will create new sectors and new industries, as Dimitri's saying about events have been decimated, and we've been sat there looking about when can we do events again, and we're not really sure. It will create. Oh, Charlie's going biblical with that.
Raising hand, delivery driver is not a job. You're going to be surprised. Well, it might not be because we're now getting driverless cars, but there are so many changes. Maybe it'll be for the next 10 years. After that, it'll probably change again.
Just remember, though, Ocado tried to do robotic packing of shopping.
Yeah. It went wrong.
And the robot set fire to the factory.
That's right, Daniel. But interesting about Charlie saying, think about how to put yourself out of business. There is a technique that is taught in total quality management, is when you pick something and you take it to an extreme. So, for example, how to put a business out of business, and you'd go, buy overstock. The other thing is get more staff. The other thing is buy expensive equipment. And you get all these ideas on how to bring a business down to its knees. And then you ask the question, how do you become successful in that business? And it's exactly the opposite. So everyone has got the answer to bring it down without realizing that the way of doing the turnaround is exactly the opposite that you've been saying, and you know.
And the reason I keep disappearing is because I've got a cough. But it's not that. It's not that. I promise you it's not that.
It's got to do with where we are, and it's enclosed space.
Not that enclosed.
Oh.
But it's quite warm in here. So
it's a low ceiling.
Your purpose really matters in this next phase, whether that be you starting again, whether that be you building something up. But it starts with, what can you drive forward? What are you passionate about to drive forward? Because if you don't drive forward with something and you can't push it forward despite the challenges, you won't be able to find the routes to success.
And you have to be the leader of the process.
Yeah.
So instead of worrying about all the other things, you have to think about, how can I lead the process? How can I show my staff and even my suppliers where I'm going to go?
So one of the things we did, which is seems a bit crazy right now, back then, but we did it at the time, is because we'd been through a difficult time as a business a few years before, we made this decision that we didn't want any debt within the business. We didn't want anything like that. So at the time we had bank financing, we had invoice financing, all sorts of stuff. And we said, no. We are going to get ourselves out of debt. I mean, there's bits and pieces that float around, you know, somebody sends us a bill and we have to wait a few days to pay it, that kind of thing. But generally speaking, no debt. Excuse me. I'm going to cough again. No, I'm not. So by January 2020, we declared we were debt-free. We didn't have any borrowings or anything like that, and we got ourselves completely. So our money was our own. Thank God we did. So it's things like thinking about those principles of what do you want out of the business? Well, actually, I don't want a business that's heavily in debt. I don't want to have all of that kind of pressure. I want to build it. And then you start to lay out the rules that you're going to build the business on. Now, if you have to change and adjust those rules, that's fine. But know that you're deliberately adjusting and changing the rules rather than just going with whichever way it goes.
But you're always going towards that target that you had initially.
So that's, for me, if anything, and I know we've gone kind of here, there, and everywhere tonight, is the purpose is the fundamental. That's the reason you wake up. You know, putting the money to the side, hoping for freedom and money in your pocket and providing for your family and all of those things that you want to do and I want to do. What's the thing that will make you do this forever? What's the thing that will make you love doing this and getting the sense of enjoyment from it? Where's the bit that gives you the reward? The self-actualization of, I made a difference, I did this, or look at what we've achieved. That's the bit you've got to find the purpose with first. And then you start to look at the commercial ways that you can monetize that in effect. Oh, Dimitri, yes. Do you know what? I realised, and I only realised this a couple of years ago, and my lack of delegation was the biggest obstacle to the future progression of the business. Because I knew that once I let go of things, it wouldn't be done exactly the way I wanted it. And things wouldn't happen exactly, and mistakes would creep in that perhaps I wouldn't have seen or I wouldn't have done. But it also allowed me to get people who could focus on things more than I could. There's only so much you can focus on. Yeah, you have a limited attention span, and you need to channel it on progression. Doing the things that you want to do, and all the stuff that is not what you want to do, you push out. It's the only way to do it.
And be aware of one thing: your staff are going to do things wrong. They are going to make huge mistakes. Your job there is to mentor them for that not to happen again. It's not to play the blame game. It's to sort the problem out, and you move forward. Always let the team handle it. Get them used to it. Otherwise, they're always going to rely on your answer, on you being there, and what you're going to say.
Oh, so here's an interesting point, Charlie P. But it's our baby. Your business will always be your baby as long as you won't let it grow up. Hear that? Your business will always be your baby for as long as you won't let it grow up.
Very true.
And that is one of the things. You set the principles of what you want to achieve and where it's going, but then that baby has to grow up. It has to mature, it has to get more sophisticated, it has to communicate differently, and you have to then support that child, your baby, growing up, helping it take the first steps. My grandson started walking now, so I can see him walking around. And that's funny, but you have to get him to take the steps. And that's one of the problems with the baby. You have to literally...
it's the normal
let it grow up.
Of growing up, really. And if you don't let your company grow, you'll never get it there. Charlie
P, I'm gonna use that tomorrow. Mental note, that's going to be my LinkedIn post tomorrow. Your business will always be your baby as long as you don't let it grow up.
And it's very, very true.
Yeah,
really. And you're so worried about nurturing the baby.
Well, could you imagine if you've had children? Could you imagine if you protected your children from every bit of risk and didn't let it take out an adventure on its own?
I tried it. I was unsuccessful.
Right now, Vasco, poor little Vasco, would be dragging his son. How old is he?
33.
33-year-old son. He'd be picking him up, trying to get him in bed, feeding him in a bottle at night.
And sometimes I feel like I'll do it.
Sometimes he feels like that already. But that's what it would be like. And that's the foolishness of not delegating and not bringing people on board to help you build something. It's you're having a 33-year-old baby.
Yeah, it's true. And you need to let, let's take the example of your children. You need to let your children make mistakes, learn from them, get themselves up. You are there to help them up, but you're not conditioning them, and that's how they grow and they become, the men and women they are. If you just, as you say, hold their hand all the way, they wouldn't even know how to cross the street when they are 40.
My 14-year-old son is taller than me.
Well, he's surely taller than I am.
And we measured ourselves, and I was just short, like a couple of centimeters short of 6 foot, and he was taller than me, and he's 14.
And then what?
My youngest is not far behind either, and he's 12.
So let your babies grow. You really need to do that, and you have to trust the guys that surround you. If you can't trust them, then there's something wrong. If you can't trust the people that are around you, then you just got paper pushers.
Yeah. Box tickers.
Yeah. And one thing that you need is to listen also to your staff, and especially the younger ones. They come with new ideas. The world's changing so fast that, you need to give them, how could I say, the opportunity to teach you the new ways of thinking.
Do you know what, Vasco? We said we'd be a short session tonight, but we've actually been an hour.
Oh, crikey.
Hopefully we've not just rambled on and you've got some value from this. Yeah, Dimitri removed the training wheel. So just a reminder, next week we're doing our free social selling training. So if you want to go on that, go to our Eventbrite Maverrik, Eventbrite, and book in, and we'll get the link to you. If you want to join us on our Accelerator, it's a 13-week program, but you can stay on the live calls after that and the Ask Anything quick Q&As. But if you want to join us, I will be helping the group who've signed up on the 10th of September. We start, and we will be helping you grow your business, map out how you can build your CSP, your compelling selling proposition, so that you can go to market and really make the most of the opportunity to sell on a digital basis.
Yeah.
So if you want that again, you can go onto our Eventbrite, or you can go into our Maverrik.io shop. So go to the Maverrik website in the shop, and you'll find the Social Selling Accelerator there. If there's anything you want to email us in, Boo, Mrs. J is in the Accelerator. She had a session with us today. As part of it, you get 2 hours one-to-one with me, if you dare. But please do come to the free training next week. It's not obviously as good as the Social Selling Accelerator, but the way we do it is we teach you enough to get going. You can go, actually, this was worth it. I'm going to invest in the Accelerator, and I want Dean to be involved in helping me grow my business.
And if you've got any doubts, just drop us a line.
Yeah.
And we can just, do a quick conf call with you guys and help you on your decision.
Awesome. So I am going to wrap up. Thank you for watching tonight. Hopefully you've got some value from this. I am going to use that quote that I put in there.
It's a good one. You better copy it before it goes.
Before I forget it. It was...
Down, yeah. Down, there you go.
Your business will always be your baby as long as you don't let it grow up.
Charlie P, thanks for reminding us.
I'm going to email that to myself so that I don't forget that key message of my quote for tomorrow.
So I think, everyone should check Dean's post tomorrow.
Yeah, check that I spell it right. Guys, have an awesome rest of the week. Come find me on LinkedIn. Come follow me, connect with me. Find me on Facebook. And I'll see you next week at the Social Selling Free Training.